What is up, everyone? I'm ATRon The Gamer, and Diablo 3's patch 1.0.3 is live. So, attack speed has gotten nerfed, and it got nerfed bad. So, a lot of my stuff has dropped below 50% of the attack speed that it used to have, with the exception of the quiver, because that didn't get altered because they decided not to do that. But I know my weapon used to have 18% increased attack speed, now it's down to 8%. Basically lost 100 DPS on my crossbow, so this thing is pretty much a piece of crap now. And they changed a lot of skills around for the Demon Hunter. Specifically, the Nether Tentacles got nerfed really bad. It is garbage, basically, in my opinion now. I'm already switching over to either Frost Arrow or Ball Lightning, but let's go over some of the skill changes that we have now. So after looking at all of these skills, and I'm only going to go over them briefly, and you can check out a link in the description if you want to see these skills for yourself. It looks like a lot of these skills that allowed players to reflect damage back on their enemies have been capped out at the player's maximum life, and they did this for several classes. They did it for the skill Ignore Pain and the rune Contempt for Weakness for the Barbarian. They did this for the Wizard and the skill Diamond Skin and the rune Mirror Skin. They did this for the Monk, for the skill Serenity and the rune Instant Karma. And going back to the Barbarian, it also affected their skill Overpower and their rune Crushing Advance. And there's a couple other changes. There's the bug fixes that I want to point out really quick. Again, I already mentioned that Nether Tentacles got nerfed to hell, and it's basically the reason why is because tentacles now only hit each target once. So before, they used to actually tick, and it would hit multiple times, and it was a massive amount of damage. It made Demon Hunters really, really awesome. And now that skill is toast. It is not as good as it used to be, nowhere near as good as it used to be. So definitely use a different skill if you're a Demon Hunter and you were using that before, because it is no longer viable in my opinion, or at least nowhere near as viable as it used to be. Something I thought to be pretty cool, even though it doesn't really affect skills, is for the monks specifically, as they are now capable of wearing two-handed axes, two-handed swords, and they're also capable of wearing two-handed maces. So that I thought was pretty interesting, adds more versatility in the sense of what weapons a monk can wear, so it allows for them to wear different things and various things. So I thought that was cool. They also had a bug fix for the monk with near-death experience and Serenity, as fatal damage absorbed by Serenity will no longer trigger near-death experience. But let's move away from the skills, and again, you can check out all of these skills in the description. I'll have a link there for you. Let's look at the items and their drop rates now. They changed the way items are dropping, obviously, and as I went over in the patch preview review video that I did, which you can check out if you want to look at it in the annotations or the description. And as you can see, we can now get item level 63 gear out of all of Inferno and not just Act 3 and 4. We can also get item level 62 and 61 gear out of Acts 3 and 4 of Hell. So I thought this is a pretty cool change. And if you haven't already, you can check out my Acts 3 and 4 of Hell MF guides, where I go over some of the, I think to be some really good routes that basically just came up with on the fly. They're pretty cool, and you come across some nice chests as well as tons of rares and champs. So that's also a change that was implemented, is that all sets of rares and champs will drop a guaranteed rare as long as you have 5 stacks of Nephilim Valor. So go out there and get your Nephilim Valor. Bosses are only going to drop 1 guaranteed rare now. Obviously, all of the stuff I'm talking about has a chance to drop even more than just 1 rare, but there is that 1 guaranteed as long as you get those 5 stacks of NV. And they lowered the prices for blacksmithing and jewel crafting. They did implement that items level 50, or items that have item level 50 and above, will now display their item level on the item itself. So I thought that was actually really cool, really amazing. So I'm glad they did that, and I'm happy to see it. And they have really, really nerfed allowing players to gather loot without having to kill monsters. It's something that Jay Wilson talked about that he really didn't want to see. He really wanted people to, well, at least the whole Diablo team, not just him, really wants to guide people and sort of push them towards the direction of you have to kill monsters to get loot, and they don't want you to be able to just go around and break stuff or open things and get good stuff. And that's pretty evident with the changes that they made to this patch. Weapon racks no longer drop weapons 100% of the time. Destructible objects no longer have a chance to drop items and will only have a small chance to drop gold when destroyed. Here's a really big one. Magic Find will no longer be considered when looting objects in the environment such as chests, barrels, vases, pots, and corpses. So to all the naysayers who said before this patch that Magic Find didn't affect any of that stuff, well, it did, and now it doesn't. So now you would be right in saying something like that. But this is pretty big. This is actually a really big deal, if you ask me, and it's all about killing monsters now. So I would say go ahead and kill all the rares and champs you can find. And for anybody that's looking to make the Staff of Hurting, they've seemed like they've made it a little bit easier. And it looks like you can't drop the Staff of Hurting ever again, so that's pretty interesting. And you might not lose it because you can't drop it. You also can't salvage it. And all of the items that you need to craft the Staff of Hurting will now drop as a legendary or orange item. I wouldn't really call it that orange, but somewhat orange. And it should make it a little bit more visible for players when they are going through the game to pick those items up. So if you need to know how to make the Staff of Hurting, I have a video for that as well. It'll be in the annotations. You want to check that out. And the last thing that I want to go over, even though there is more to these patch notes, is that repair costs have been increased for items that have the item level of 53 to 63, and it seems like it's been pretty exponentially. So that's going to do it for this brief review of patch 1.0.3 for Diablo 3. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to me, my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Twitter at ATRon The Gamer. If you like this video, please click the like button. Hope to see everyone next time for more Diablo 3. Until that time, I'm ATRon The Gamer. Later, everyone.